Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Thursday night chit chat, just a hangout. My name's Jason. This is just Jason Keto. I hope everyone is having a good week so far. It's good to see you all. There's plenty of people that were here early in the live stream. Uh, Sort of a confirmation that the audio is working at some point. That would be cool. Can never trust what StreamYard's telling us on the screen, but hopefully everything's working. Michael's Adventures was first in the doors. Good to see you, Michael. Nikki Lopez is here. It's good to see you, Nikki. I think this is your first time stopping by, so welcome. It's good to see everyone tonight. We've got Lynn, 22Q Cat is here. Evelyn is here as well. Scratch and Pete PA is in the house. Thank you for coming by, Pete. Let's just say hi to everyone while we can. Loretta and Jason are here. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Some fellow Canadians in the house. Lots of Canadian support here. Scratch and Pete PA is from the Great White North as well. Congrats to the Toronto Blue Jays. If anyone follows baseball, Toronto is off to the next series in the playoffs. So I don't know if any of you Canadians remember the 92 and 93 World Series excitement, but it's definitely looking like a good year for the team. So hopefully that's a long playoff run. So everyone's saying hi. Thanks for that, Evelyn. Yeah, if you can hit the thumbs up, that would be appreciated. It does help the live stream. Still trying to get over this cold that I picked up while I was on vacation. It's not like it's running me down or anything, but I've got some sinus issues still going on. So if I cut out for a couple of seconds here and there, that's what I'm dealing with. So Jesse is here. Thanks for coming by, Jesse. Appreciate it. Can't stay long. Just wanted to pop in, say hello. That's awesome. Appreciate how many of you can stay with us here on Thursday night. And typically nothing super exciting, just hanging out, seeing how everyone is doing with their week. Thank you for that, Pete. Joe is here. Thanks for coming in, Joe. Dr. John Smith is here. We'll be talking more about you in a few minutes. Something I'm doing this week. It'll be pretty exciting. Looking forward to something I'm going to try. So yeah. So everyone is saying hi. It's going okay, Nikki. It's one more day at work and then a long weekend for us Canadians here. This weekend is our Thanksgiving. So we have Monday is a holiday, so nice 3-day weekend to relax and hang out with friend or family kind of thing. So yes, it's baseball time up here for sure. Let's make sure we're not missing anyone here. Kristen is here. Thanks for coming in, Kristen. Appreciate you being here. Lots of great people here tonight. If you want to drop your channel, just type in hashtag Thrive. And if Nightbot is actually awake tonight, it'll drop your channel link for you. Henry Leslie Vermont is here. Staycation. That is always fun. We were off for 2 weeks and basically drove nonstop for most of that 2 weeks. So yes, nice 2-week vacation, but it was a lot of work for sure. Happy to be back to regular life. I had to get back to work, but things you got to do, I guess. Yep, Thanksgiving is always fun for sure. Kevin from Tuber Chat is here. It's good to see Kevin, another fellow Canadian. Sure we're not missing anything here. So, yeah, so welcome in everyone. Like I say, it's just a Thursday night. Our sort of weekly hangout, see how everyone's doing, see if everyone's made any changes in their lifestyle. It's always good to hear stories of how we're doing and, try to give support to everyone. And I see any of you heading to Ketopalooza 2026. I did see something about that last night, everyone, that I'm I would suspect that I'll probably, um, plan on going. I guess I don't know if you as of last night, I hadn't seen sort of what the new, venue is for it. I'm assuming it's still in Louisville, just not at the same, venue that it was before. Uh, but I would definitely, it's one of those things that I would assume that I would end up going to. Excited that it's coming back next year for sure. So diet. I wish I could do that. But things don't work for me but you know, everyone does what they need to do, and that is, we do for us, and that's all we can do. Nikki gets a free turkey from work. Oh, that's pretty cool. We used to, like, years and years and years and years ago. The My first full time job, we used to get a free turkey at Thanksgiving every year, but doesn't seem to happen anymore. But that's fine. Yep. Yeah. Like I say, I could say that as long as for unknown reasons, I don't wind up going. I would assume that I'm going to go. I've already sort of put it on the calendar. I guess the other change that I did see is that instead of Friday to Sunday, it's going to be Thursday to Saturday. Not that that really matters for me one way or the other. I usually wind up going down a day early, anyways. So I just shift the time that I went. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing people again. I've always said if you're in any kind of community, whether it's keto the community or any of the communities that we're in online here, like I've met up with Kevin from Tuber Chat 3 times in real life now, and it's always fun getting to hang out and talk to people that you know sit here and talk to you all on camera or once a week, and then have conversations in comment sections and stuff like that. But it's always fun to actually sit down and um, talk to the people that you chat with online and talk to them in real life. The halfway through our trip out west, I got to sit down with Matt from Matt and Mouse, uh, and it was fun getting to get to know him in person. And unfortunately, Mouse wasn't able to attend, but it was great to finally get to meet someone new from the sort of YouTube creator community. Um, you will definitely find here there's a big mix of both the keto community and the YouTube creator community. It's important to support everybody. I'm here mainly as someone who's trying to share my uh, sort of experience on a low carb diet for the last 6 years, but I'm also trying to be good support for other creators that are just getting started or further along in their journey. So, Radio Jonesy is here. Welcome to Friday from the Future in Tasmania. Cool. Thank you for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, Nightbot is in the house. So yeah, if you have a YouTube channel, you can just type hashtag Thrive and it'll drop a link for you. I guess the first piece of business, and most of you, I think, here already know, is that for some ridiculous reason, I wound up um, starting another YouTube channel, or not actually starting it. I already had the channel built, and it was only I so far I'd only shared shorts on that channel, and they were all related to like my other channel. I would The whole idea was to take all of my shorts from my regular channel, put on like this channel, and put it on that one. But seeing as I had a whole bunch of footage that I captured on our vacation, I decided to turn that into a separate channel so I could share that footage there, kind of thing. And it'll be basically where I put all of my non-keto related content from now on. Because like I know people like watching it and I like putting it up, but it's one of those things that I have looking at the numbers. Unfortunately, it does sort of negatively impact what I'm trying to do on this channel. So even though I didn't want to start a second channel, I figured it's just as easy to put it all over there. I don't do a lot of non-keto related content, so it's not like it's going to be a ton of work. But I have a lot of stuff to go through from our vacation. I put up a few shorts already and one full length video. And surprisingly enough, the shorts have done pretty well over there, which is, it's good to see. But yeah, thanks for Pete for dropping that link. If you want to check that out, that's the other channel. Again, it's just non-keto related stuff. Anytime I do like nature vlogs and that kind of stuff, I'll post it over there. Yeah, like if you just type hashtag Thrive, like Nightbot said there, it'll automatically drop your channel link for you. D Lee is in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in for the live stream. Appreciate y'all being here just to hang out for an hour every Thursday night. We're going to try and get back to our regularly scheduled programming of being here every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, second week in a row. So we're on a roll already. So yeah, channel number 2 was sort of the first thing I wanted to talk about, and then one already brought it up, but I did see that Ketopalooza is back on for next year, 2026. So that's good news. Hopefully everyone here that's sort of in the keto community, um, if it's something that you can do and you can make it to, um, I would definitely suggest trying to make it to Ketopalooza. It's a 3-day event. Uh, Ticket sales are usually limited to 300 people, which is a nice size. So the uh, but it's awesome getting to meet all these people and you get to hear all sorts of great stories. You know, get to know the people that we're talking to here. So, and they always have some great speakers. So, what made me go keto? Well, the short answer to that was, a 2-year-old grandson that I couldn't keep up with, kind of thing. Wasn't sort of the main reason I picked going keto, but the catalyst to me wanting to change my lifestyle was my grandson was about 2 years old, and I was about 80, 90 pounds overweight. I had a sore back all the time and couldn't keep up with him. Like 2-year-old kids are always wanting to play, and you got to get down on the floor and play with them, back up and run around and get down on the floor. So I found myself having a hard time with that. Um, So that was sort of the uh, reason to start making a change in my life. Um, Choosing keto was more of a, after conversations with a family member that had been keto for a year, I decided to do a bunch of research on it. Figured I'd give it a try, and it's just one of those things that it was easy enough for me to stick to. So basically, that's what I've stuck to for the last 6 years, and been doing different things to make more changes. If you looked at it technically, I'm pretty much carnivore, so meat heavy keto, so mostly protein. With some, I still eat salads once in a while. It's not like I'm carnivore, and it's kind of boring for me. So I could do it, but I would rather just sort of eat what I can handle. The biggest change in my lifestyle over the last sort of 8 months is I've incorporated a lot more fermented foods, which has made a real big difference in my gut health as well. So it's a um, it's an all what I do is evolving all the time. Trying to come up with ways to optimize my health best I can. So now that I have two grandkids, it's served me well to stay somewhat in shape enough to keep up with them. Any collaborations coming up? Yeah, the um, the creator challenge with Kendra. We've missed a couple of months now, mainly because of, well, partially or mostly because I have just been too busy. I'm hoping we can pick that up again when things slow down. At this point, we don't know. We'll have to get some conversations going back to regularly to figure out if we can get back into it in November. Not that we haven't decided to quit it. It's just been, yeah, it's been one of those things where things wait for a couple of weeks at the wrong time, and just too many things going on with everything. So hopefully we can get that picked back up yeah, for next month. So yep, grandkids do make you work for sure. Nikki's lost almost 200 pounds now at 142. That's awesome. Yep, getting out there and doing any kind of physical activity is always a good thing. Thankfully, I wind up part of my job is climbing ladders and lifting heavy things and walking all the time. So I do, you know, that keeps me active enough, thankfully. But yeah, you know, any kind of things like boxing would definitely be good activity. So what else? I was mentioning Dr. John Smith, one of the longtime supporters of the channel and a member. If I can find him again here. I don't know where he was in here earlier. He's quite often, yeah, there's Dr. John Smith there. So a couple of months ago, he sent me an email with a recipe for a chaffle. So the plan is hopefully, yeah, there he is there. I'm gonna make up the recipe that he sent me. I'm not gonna sort of give it away just yet. I think it's pretty sounds like a pretty special recipe. I don't wanna sort of give away what it's gonna be all about, but it is a chaffle recipe. Um, it is looking like based on my what's going on this week, though, that I'm gonna have to release that video on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, something like that. So I'll keep everyone posted in the community post there. sort of when that's going to come out, but it won't be tomorrow, unfortunately. We'll get that up for Saturday though. So yeah, like I said, I'm excited to give this recipe a try. Hopefully, everyone will enjoy it. I'm definitely intrigued. So, and if anyone ever wants to get a hold of me, and if you have a chaffle recipe that you think I might want to try, just send me an email. Just jasonketo@gmail.com. I'm always open for suggestions as to different recipes that we can try out for sure. We could have used this for part of the recipe challenge, but I'm just going to make it one of my weekly videos, and then hopefully like I say, I'm sure it'll turn out great. We've got lots of other chaffle recipes that sound really amazing. So definitely looking forward to that for sure. Relax with Mel is here. Thank you for coming in while you're working. Um, what else we got to talk about here? Just give me a sec here. I'm going to just first. All right, I'm back. Um, what was I gonna? Um, I had some thoughts about another review. Like this is something. It's a new Dash device. You know, anyone that knows me knows that I've been using Dash waffle irons forever. And I don't know if this is new or if it's just something I'm just now seeing. But let me find this here. So Dash has a sort of individual um, serving ice cream maker device or unit that you can buy now called the My Mug ice cream maker. And I can get this locally, so I don't have to order it online. And I was looking at it and I'm like figuring that it might be something worth trying and, see how it works out, see if it's worth it or if it's just a waste of money. There's lots of ice cream makers out there. The one that usually comes up the most is the creamy, um, but they're quite expensive. This one retails just under $30 um, for the single one, and then you can also uh, you can buy it with two of the mugs so that you can have one in the freezer all the time. Because the one thing I've read on this so far is that you know kind of is one of those things that may be you know a deal breaker is that basically you take the mug and you put it in the freezer. They recommend to put the mug itself in the freezer for 24 to 48 hours before you use it. Like anybody has time to do that. So it's one of those things where if you had two of the mugs, then you could have one in the freezer all times. Now it only apparently takes 20 minutes once you put your ingredients in and you put the mixer in. It only takes 20 minutes to make the ice cream. So they say. So, I was gonna pick one up and, even try just make something simple, like some keto chow ice cream. I've got some of the butterscotch keto chow sitting around that I haven't used, so I thought maybe it would be something I could use without having to come up with like a homemade ice cream ingredients and stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys think it'd be worth taking a look at. Like Joe said, if it works, it would be fun to make up recipes for ice cream and chaffles. Yep. Like I say, it's if you're by yourself, if it's just you using it, maybe it's worth only spending, $30 on a single unit. Like I said, just put the cup or the mug in the freezer, let it freeze. Um, and then you put your ingredients in it, put the mixer in, put the whole thing in the fridge, hit the button, and it starts mixing while it's in the fridge, basically. Um, and then you can add all sorts of different stuff to it. Like you can use this isn't just a keto thing, obviously. It's not even marketed as a keto device. But so you can make any kind of ice cream recipe you wanted to. So yeah. So yeah, I think that is one thing that I will look at picking up. Now, the one that you get locally is just the single one. I'd have to order online to order the double unit. It'd be nice if you could buy a second mug just by itself. I have to look into that as well. But yeah, I will pick one up and give it a try and let you guys know how it turns out. You know, see if it works well enough to be worth that $30. And then, like I say, a lot of people that use keto chow like using it to make ice cream. So it'd be pretty simple to make up keto chow, pour it in. I can't remember how much it said it'll hold. Specifications, features. I'm just trying to see here. So it's got half pint capacity for perfect single serve portions. Churn and eat right out of the mug. Makes ice cream, sorbet, frozen yogurt, and slushies in 20 minutes. Um, all the accessories fit inside. Yeah. So yeah, it looks pretty simple to use. Recipes included, keto friendly, low carb, and dairy free option. And there you go. So maybe they are thinking about us too. So yeah. So yeah, I'll pick one of those up, and then maybe by next week I'll have a review video out for that as well. So cool. Okay, so I think that was pretty much everything I wanted to discuss this week's chaffle recipe, Keto Palooza, the ice cream maker, my second channel. Again, I don't know why I always said I'd never have a second YouTube channel, but here we are, I guess. So yeah, hopefully everyone is enjoying their week. Been definitely hard to get back into the swing of thing after taking 2 weeks off and not even thinking about work. But you know, we're right back in it now, and it's been a couple of weeks of work and back into the flow of things, and then but we're right into the sort of um, thick of holidays, I guess you would say. We've got Halloween coming up, Thanksgiving for Canada this weekend. We all know that feeling of overdoing it at Thanksgiving meals and stuff like that. My personal experience with it, uh, the nice thing about meals like that is there seems to always be lots of um, protein, whether it's like ham or turkey or something like that. Um, so I just focus on that, some vegetables, and then that's pretty much how I survive those meals. So, do you do keto versions of traditional Thanksgiving meals, or you make other things? Yeah, I don't. I guess the first couple of years when I was keto, I experimented with making like keto pumpkin pie with almond flour crust and all that stuff. And honestly, if I was to make like pumpkin pie now, I would just make the filling and put it in a bowl and just eat it like that. You can cook it just the same way. I wouldn't even bother with the crust anymore because really, to me, the filling's the more the best part, anyways. So ultimately, I've never really shifted too much in trying to make things, you know, keto per se. For me, turkey and most of the vegetables, aside from like potatoes and some of the root vegetables and stuff like that, are just fine for me. Again, I have no problem eating quite a few vegetables, even carrots and stuff like that doesn't bother me. Even carrots are a little bit higher in glucose, just starches in it, but I don't worry too much about things like that. But that's the place that I'm at with my diet and lifestyle kind of thing. Like I say, the one thing I've always sort of tried to focus on, if you're going out for parties, and this is sort of where we're at in the year, like the time of year we're coming up to, Halloween parties, Thanksgiving parties, Christmas parties, New Year's Eve parties. Like it's just, you know, 3 months of nonstop party, get together, meals, all this kind of stuff. The way I sort of navigate that is I always try to um, make sure that I plan on having a big meal earlier in the day before something like that happens. So if you're going out for a Christmas party or something, I always have a really big lunch that day so that I'm not hungry when I go out and hang out with friends, so that I'm not snacking. Because the worst thing is if you go out and you haven't eaten enough during the day and you're hungry. If you have partake in having a couple of drinks or something at a party, then you find yourself looking for something to snack on, and that's just where things just never go the way you want them to. So I find that if I have a nice big meal in the middle of the day, it helps you avoid things like that. Michael's giving plasma in the morning. Good for you, Michael. So hopefully that goes well. Uh, Having a great week. Went to cardiologist today. Blood pressure normal. No AFib seen. EKG normal. First time to get all three right. That's amazing. Been keto since 2019. It's taken a while to get my health back, but worth it. Yeah, it definitely takes a while, but always worth the effort. And that's one of the things uh, the other things we always like to try and remind people is that most of us don't get to a place of needing to change our health and lifestyle overnight. It takes years and decades. You know, I was uh, I was 49 when I changed. So I had 49 years of abuse and, neglect and not really caring about what I was eating and stuff like that. So going into it with that knowledge and knowing that I can't heal myself overnight either is the best way to remind yourself that, just start the journey and eventually you'll get the results that you're looking for, just like Joe has here. Like it's taken 6 years, but it was 6 years well worth making that change. So yeah, like I say, it is. This is a time of year that people that have been trying to change their lifestyle, their way of eating, this is the time of year where things can uh, get really stressful and sort of put your sort of willpower to the test. That's the great thing about having this where we can all come and hang out and not have any judgment as to what we're doing. I know lots of people that will purposely, celebrate during one of these times of the year without, you know, worrying about their diet or lifestyle or anything like that, and that's great too. Like I've always said that it's one of those things that you have to do what's right for you, and if that means, having a pizza on your birthday or, having a piece of that pie at Christmas or something like that just to keep your sanity, well, then by all means, like it's one meal or one piece of pie or one pizza isn't going to completely undo everything that you've been trying to do. Just keep in mind though that it can sort of mess with your mindset a little bit. Like so you always want to make sure that you go into it knowing, hey, we're going to do this. It's going to be a thing for now. Uh, and also be aware that, if you've been keto for a while and you haven't sort of eaten off plan for a while, that going wild with something that's not part of the plan can definitely have some negative impacts for a little bit. But you know, if you're expecting it and you're going to accept that that might happen, then again, if it's good for your mental health, I think it's not going to ruin everything, or one piece of pie or whatever is not going to ruin everything you've been doing. Like I've said many times before, I can't do it because my mindset doesn't allow me to stray from what I'm doing. Because if I do, then it just goes right off the rails, and it's hard for me to get back on. So that's why I have sort of resigned myself to just sticking with what I know I can manage. Do you have to deal with in-laws guilt when a relative doesn't understand your diet and makes you feel bad if you avoid? I get that from my mother-in-law. Thankfully, no. Pretty much everyone in my family and then in my circle of friends and everything, they all understand it. Nobody even thinks about it. Like, I'm at the point where I basically, for the most part, I just do my own thing. People don't worry about me. They know that I don't eat all of uh, the starches and stuff like that at Thanksgiving meals, um, or any meals like that. I don't bring it up. They don't bring it up. I just eat what I'm gonna eat. Like I say, it's never sort of come up that I go to a family event where there isn't something that I can eat. And if there's the off chance that there might not be, I always make sure that we bring something that I can eat so that I'm not stuck with nothing, right? So thankfully I've, not run into you know, any of the guilt, anybody else kind of thing. Most people have seen the change that I was able to make by, changing my diet and lifestyle. So they understand what I'm trying to do, and they know that that's just the way things are. So I'm thankful for that for sure. My aunt used to go on about lifestyle. I finally told her if I didn't eat this way, I wouldn't be alive. It bothers me. Well, that's the whole thing, right? Like it's sooner or later people will, you know, have to understand, you know, and it's the same for me, it's the same on the other side too. I don't talk to people about what they do, like, I don't go around I don't tell anybody how they should live their life, what they should eat, what they shouldn't eat. That's just not my place to do it, you know? If people ask, "How did I lose 80 pounds in a year?" I'll tell them, I'd have no problem explaining things like sort of trying to pass along the experience that I've had over the last 6 years, but, it's not my place to be telling anyone, but it is funny that, anybody in the keto community will sort of agree with this statement is that it's, you could go your whole life eating, Twinkies and, Coca-Cola 100% of the time, and nobody would say a word. Not one single word. Nobody cares. Start eating bacon and eggs and steak for breakfast every day and having eggs for dinner too, and everybody loses their friggin' mind because they think you're crazy. So, what does that tell you? Is that unfortunately things are kind of backwards, you know, in society for someone or for people to actually think that you're, eating or killing yourself by eating things like bacon and eggs and steak and all that is just bizarre. But again, you can eat ding dongs and ho hos and you know potato chips and cheesies and all that stuff, and nobody cares. So yeah, backwards world for sure. So yeah, like I say, I have no, you know, thankfully I don't have anyone that really says anything. Like everyone I work with knows what I what I don't eat, and what I do eat. And, the worst, the one thing that bugs me, and it's not like it's really a big deal, and it's not like anyone people usually mean anything by it, is when people say, get oh, you can't eat carbs. Well, I never said I can. I'm not allergic to carbs. I'm not allergic to sugar. I'm not allergic to seed oils. I choose not to eat them. I can eat whatever the hell I want. I'm an adult. Nobody tells me what I can and can't eat. I choose not to eat them. So that's the only thing that you get that from time to time. Um, I'm sure everyone that's in this community has had that before, but that's the worst of what I get for the most part. Cool. Ugh, gotta stay hydrated. So yeah, that's my little rant for the week. We say hopefully everyone is enjoying their week, and if you're in Canada, hopefully you're gonna enjoy some time with family this weekend, and make sure you continue watching the Blue Jays because they're looking like they might go on a bit of a run here. I don't know who they're going to wind up playing in the next series. I think it's between Seattle and Detroit. They're coming up. We'll play Game 5 of their series tomorrow. So it'll either be Detroit or Seattle that Toronto play. If it's Detroit, then me and my bosses may not be talking for a while because he's a big Detroit fan and he presses it when the Tigers are in the playoffs. But yeah, always a fun time of year. I'm more of a hockey fan than baseball, but I do enjoy my Toronto team. I was Last time Toronto won the World Series, I actually wound up in downtown Toronto in the back of a pickup truck for 3 or 4 hours just driving around Yonge Street, Toronto with all the thousands of fans that were down there, so it was, that was a great time for Toronto for sure, so it'd be definitely be nice to get back to that. Um, no, when you are different from the person who says something, it is just easier to agree with them and carry on. Yeah, that's for sure. Like having the group back on Thursdays again, yeah, it's a great way to pass the time at work. And when it's done, it's supper time. Tonight, having keto lo mein with chicken. That sounds really good. Yeah, yeah, I'm happy to be back every Thursday night to hang out with all of you. We slowed things down a little bit during the summer, and then while I was away, I missed a few weeks. So yeah, it's definitely good to be back here. We're going to, as far as I know, for the foreseeable future, be here every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. just to hang out and chat, see what's going on in the keto world this week. My first Thanksgiving when I started keto, I went to someone else's house. I packed everything but the turkey into a lunch box and made a charcuterie style dish, keto dessert to share. Exactly. And that's the thing, like it's easier to sort of I think it's easier to do something like that than to try and uh, sort of arrange with whoever's hosting the dinner and that. Uh, I much prefer to say, anytime, whether it's family or friends or all that, say, do what you're gonna do. Don't worry about me. That's I would much rather that be the way it goes. Because, like I said, I'm an adult. I can figure it out, do my own thing. Like I say, if I think that it's not going to be a bunch of food there that's, you know, something that I will eat before I go. It doesn't bother me, right? I don't really care one way or the other. So that would be a great way to do it, especially at first, is to make sure that you have everything that you want for the meal. Is just take everything you want to have, and then just have some of the protein for everyone else. Okay, well, I think my voice is not holding up as well as usual tonight, so we'll probably cut things off here now. Again, I'm going to have a special chaffle recipe video this week, courtesy of Dr. John Smith. Thank you for sending me the recipe, and I'll get that out for you guys on Saturday evening, afternoon, evenings, like that. And then, but I'll put something in my community tab, letting everyone know when it's coming out. And then definitely looking forward to what you guys think about this one. It's far as I know, I haven't seen this recipe anywhere else before, so maybe it'll be something new for everyone. Pick up one of those ice cream makers, and I'll do an unboxing, and I'll give it a try and see how it works out, and I'll do that video of that for everyone, just in case you're curious. And yes, if you want to check out my other channel, there's a link for it there. Dropped by Pete. Again, it's just the all channel for everything that's not keto related that I have to post, just so that we don't sort of, you know, get things. It just gets kind of messy in the regular channel or this channel here. I like to keep it one live stream and one video every week, which kind of doesn't leave me room to drop this other content that I'd like to show you guys. So that's basically why I decided to Uh, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, well, definitely thank you for sending that over. I will make sure I tag you in that video once I post, and we'll hopefully everyone enjoys that. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. Anyone in Canada, have a great night. We'll see you back here next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for another hour of live chat and catching up with the community. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for being here tonight, everyone. I appreciate all of you, and we will see you next. Keep on thriving, my friends.